Hello, it's Ben with the DIY Homefront, and on this channel we cover all projects big and small, and we use a lot of tools in the process. Well, I've got two sanders that need some maintenance, so I'm going to change out the pads on them. If you're interested, stay tuned. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've got quite a few sanders, and a lot of them are battery operated, but some of them have the old-fashioned plug. And when I've got a really big project, that's what I choose. And I burn these things up when I'm working on my decks. And I've got two of them that need some maintenance. So I went online and I've ordered some parts. Let's take a look. I really give these things a hard workout. And this is a model D26451. And we just literally tore the pad off of it. It just disintegrated. Age something, not sure. I went online and looked up the part. And it was reasonably priced. It was just under $10. And it looks like it's going to be held in place with just 3 screws. And it's going to take a 25 Torx bit to get those screws out. And once you get those 3 screws out, well, though it's left of that pad, it just falls off. And when it's time to put the pad back on, it couldn't be any simpler. You just line up those 3 holes. There's really nothing to these things. I mean, nothing. Put the Torx bit screws back in, and you are done. Well, it might be a little difficult to start the Torx bit screws, but once you got them started, it's really simple. Leave it loose so I can get all these started up. Now when I start to screw these in with my impact driver, watch how carefully I torque these down. And this should be important because I'm going to show you what not to do in about 3 minutes. There you go, that's all it takes. Well, that took less than 3 minutes with the part on hand to get this sander back functioning. Let's move on to the next one and see how long that takes. This one gets a lot of work too. And I have already replaced the power cord on it with an extension cord, which makes it a lot more useful. It's a DeWalt 443 6-inch power sander. And you'd be surprised how much more work you can get done with a 6-inch as opposed to a 5-inch sander. And they don't make this anymore, and I use it a lot on the deck, and this pad is just shot is what it is. It's trash. Nothing wants to stick to it anymore. Here's a replacement pad. It just doesn't stick. Well, the Velcro shot on the pad. It just won't grab a hold of these sanding discs anymore. It has 4 screws. And just like the other DeWalt sander, it takes a 25 Torx bit. Now when I tried to look this part up to buy it, I had a hard time finding it. And the only one I could find was close to $100. I want to say it was $89, and it would have been $100 after shipping. And I couldn't see spending $100 to replace this pad. And that's when I realized they don't make this anymore, because I tried to find one of these and I could not find a comparable current model. And as I looked and looked and looked, I finally found another pad that looked like it was made the same way. It had like this fiberglass film on it, and it had 4 holes. So I don't know what this goes to, but I ordered it because it was half the price. And I ordered 2 of them, so that way I would have a spare in the future, because I'm going to keep sanding those decks every couple of years because I have to do some work on them. But it goes the same way. You can see there's 4 holes there. I went back and looked at my browsing history, and it turned out that this part was for a Black & Decker sander, and the price was $31 when I purchased them. So I got 2 of them for $62 instead of 1 for $89. And I'm going to start all 4 before I tighten them up. And this is where you hear my words of wisdom and you end up seeing the failure that I make. What should have been a 2-minute job with the proper tool, maybe a drill or a hand screwdriver, turned into be a 10-minute job. Because I have just reamed off 2 of these torque bit screws. Don't you hate it when you make a project more difficult than it really needs to be? Jeez almighty. Alright, well there's easy threads. Maybe I can back those out pretty easy. Well, this isn't my first time at doing something like this. I'm going to start with a drill bit that's just a little bit smaller than the screw and see if I can't drill it into the screw and maybe get the screw out that way. Now the problem with this idea is that the drill turns in the same direction that would normally tighten the screw. But I'm hoping that it's going to grab a hold of the screw and just literally screw it through the bottom of the thread so it comes out the bottom instead of me trying to pull it back out through the top. Well, I've got a small hole in the screw and now I've gone and got a larger drill bit. And I'm hoping what's going to happen is that larger drill bit is going to try to grab a hold of that screw, just like when you're trying to drill through a piece of metal. And voila, it worked. That's a start, isn't it? Now I need to see if I'm going to be lucky enough if I can get that trick to work twice in the same day. Well, here are those 2 screws that I ended up breaking, and I've got both of them out. Let's see if we can find a replacement. Okay, I went and dug and look, just a little bit short, that's all. Well, the dust cover goes in place and then the pad goes on and we don't over torque the screws. But like I said, I'm really glad to have both of these sanders fixed because I use them on my decks and they really get a workout when it's time to clean those decks up. Well, there you go. My sanders are ready for the next time I need them. I messed up a little bit when I sheared those 2 screws off, but as you can see, I have done that before, so it's no big deal. You just fix what you break. Well, I hope this was helpful, and I hope your tools are ready for you when you start your projects. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my playlist, and I'll see you in another tool video.